I actually like how well this turned out. It is working, and on the bottom, just to make sure that we collect everything, because there is a chance that it'll fall to the side and not get sucked up by the hopper minecart, that we put it in a triple wide hopper minecart just to make sure that we cover our bases. But now that we're done with the cactus farm, it's time to go to the last of the game tick farms, and that is, of course, the villager crop farms. What up, my roomies, and welcome back to the technical guide to Minecraft. And today, well, we're back inside the sand village that we saw from the previous episode. Of course, in order to make a villager crop farm, you need villagers. And thankfully, this village was full to actually create this thing. So we're in the middle of just transporting everything over there, and then we're going to prep the area. Now, how we set this up is that in this nether portal, it's already linked to the nether roof. And on the other side, we have one side of it blocked with this row of slabs. And the only spot that the villager can go to is this boat over here. So when it goes to the other side, it'll just immediately fall into this boat, and we can start rowing it. So if we were to open up hitboxes by pressing F3B, just knock this boat open, villager goes through, and if we go to the other side, it should be, yes, right there. So now that we have all the villagers, let's start transporting these villagers over to Ambrosia.
There she goes. This is the true line. We're having service stream. There she goes. This is the true line. We're having service stream. There she goes.
Alright, what seemed like an hour or so, we finally got all the villagers in place, but most likely we're gonna have to make a villager breeder. But before we do all of that, we're gonna have to put all the water in its place. And I guess afterwards, we'll go talk about how the villager breeder works. So, let's get started. Welcome to KiguCorp, where safety is a concern. So over here we have a version of the villager crop farm, and how this works is that Erica over here is a hungry villager having no access to the food, and as a result, Derek, the kind farmer that he is, will then start gathering all this carrots and then start tossing them over to Erica. And that's because villagers have a unique mechanic that also ties in with their breeding. See, in order for villagers to breed, they need to have enough food, and when a farmer villager harvests the crop, that essentially becomes part of their inventory of which they can share with other villagers. In this case, Erica. So, in the attempt to try to fill up Erica's food inventory, Derek will then toss over crops over to Erica, I guess in a way of courting, and then by doing so, will not only harvest the carrots that are on the floor, but also fill up Derek's inventory. And when Derek's inventory is full, he'll want to share it with the closest villager that is hungry. In this case, again, Erica. So, just to speed things along, let's just help Derek out with harvesting these crops. And then when Derek's inventory is full, Derek will then proceed to try to throw carrots Erica's way. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because if there's a carpet on top of the hopper, or a slab, thus Erica remains hungry, while Derek is trying in vain to try to give Erica some food. All the while, we actually collect some of the carrots that go through onto the carpet that wasn't collected by Derek again. And this will go on and on and on. But here's the problem. This works when it comes to carrots. This does not work when it comes to wheat, and there's actually a very good reason for this. Because if Derek were to hold wheat, you'll notice that instead of giving wheat, he'll instead give bread. And while bread has its uses, it's not what we're looking for. In fact, we're looking for something else entirely. We're looking for specifically wheat. And the reason why we're looking for wheat is because we're eventually going to play with mud, and playing with mud also involves wheat. And so having bread, while being a viable food source, is not exactly what we're looking for. So how do we combat this? Well, let's say that we didn't have a villager over here. That in fact, we had a hopper minecart gathering everything that the villager will harvest. So by sending a minecart down right under it, every time a villager harvests a crop, when its inventory is full, it'll remain on the floor. Thus, the hopper minecart will collect the crop, including wheat, in its normal form. And while this is not as effective as having a villager, this is one of the few ways to actually have an automated wheat farm. And so we're going to be using this. Although I had forgotten this small fact when I was making it the first time, and I ended up making the original first version instead, including for the wheat. And by the time that I finished, it was already making bread, and that was just a sad day for me because that added in a lot of time to build. But no matter, we fixed it, and for the sake of symmetry, we made all of them version 2 of the villager crop farm over in Ambrosia. For those that want to play around with this, there's going to be a world download and a schematic in the description below. And if this video gets over 50 likes, I'll make a block by block tutorial on the Ambrosia villager farm for you to all use. And with all that, let's get back to the technical guide world and get to it. Quick interruption. I noticed that only 12% of you are actually subscribed to this channel. Watching this long, I must be doing something right. So if you like this video, hit that like button and please subscribe to this channel. Any support helps, and these videos take a bit long to make. Thank you so much, and back to the video. Now that we're done with that, you might notice that it looks different than the replays, and I have villager heads. You might be wondering why. Well, the reason's quite simple. I'd forgotten that when villagers harvest wheat, they don't actually toss wheat to the villagers. They instead make it into bread, which is not what we need. We need wheat for the builds that we're gonna do in the future, especially when it comes to mud. So we need to make some repairs on this. I've already taken away the extra villagers. Sorry. Also, that was so much time I lost. So now we have to go fix this farm up. Oh boy. You know, despite having the redesign, I actually like how this one came out more than the original, because now there's no like space in between, and having these chambers kind of give like a sort of chamber feel to the villager crop farm, like looking at the villagers in their natural habitat. At least the KiguCorp intern habitat, that is. And as per usual, we have 4 chambers, but each of which has a dedicated own crop. So this one has wheat, this one has beetroot, these are carrots, and finally we also have potatoes. As far as the efficacy of this farm, we can see that these crops are already being collected and harvested inside the Ambrosia Storage Center. But yeah, having a crop farm in your world really negates the need for you to manually harvest the crops yourself, thus giving you more time to do other cool things. And for the players that use Ambrosia, they won't have to worry about making their own farm because we have one consolidated area for all the different game tick farms. And so yeah, this more or less completes the random game tick farms. So crop farm, the cactus farm, the dripstone farm, sweet berry farm, kelp farm, pumpkin and melon farm, bamboo farm, and lastly, but certainly not leastly, the sugarcane farm. But that leads us to our next goal. And that is of course preparing the area, or rather preparing Ambrosia to become the Nether Hub. And in order to become a Nether Hub, we need to of course break some bedrock. And by some, I mean all the bedrock.